iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Hey there, everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. Well, I had a pretty interesting DFS weekend this weekend. I was so locked in to the Memorial PGA DFS. I mean, I was out of control. And on the end of day 2, I was in first place for $25,000 on FanDuel. I was actually up $26,040 if you checked my what it said I was making. So I was up. Personally, I wanted the tournament to stop right there, but obviously it was 2 more days. All I can tell you is that, man, a golf sweat may be worse than any other sweat. It may actually be worse than baseball and football, because baseball ends that night. Football usually ends on, either that night or possibly, Monday night, depending. But golf, you have 4 days. 4 days. At the end of day 2, I'm here counting my money, but man, there was a lot more golf left to be played. And I ended up finishing 59th overall out of 16,000 people on FanDuel and like 300th out of 118,000 on DraftKings. And it's just amazing that you have to find 6 golfers who play well for 4 days. And you can't have one guy not perform well. Bubba Watson for me went into the tank on Saturday and there went first place. I had Cantlay. I had Bradley. I had Chamberlain. I had On. I had them all. I had Stanley. Had them all. Had Matsuyama. You don't have everybody, you can't win. It is unreal. It is unreal. But just shows that we're on the right track, and I'm hoping I'm giving you the right information. And if you use my information, hopefully you made some money, because I know I did. So hopefully we will get it at the FedEx St. Jude when we discuss it later this week. And of course, at the U.S. Open, still a chance to get some qualifiers in there. I've been getting some free tickets for the mega contests, and that's really what I want to do. If I can get like 10 or 12 tickets going in there, that'll be great, so I don't have to spend my money. I can spend FanDuel or DraftKings money. So that's the way to win. All right, so on today, I want to get a little fantasy baseball in. I want to talk about like a few guys who can bounce back. Few bounce back candidates who I think would make really good guys that I would look for in trades at this point. So the first guy I want to talk about is Marcel Ozuna. Marcel Ozuna. So I got to give it up to my man Craig Mish from SiriusXM Fantasy Baseball. And Mish came out on May 31st and basically said that Ozuna studied the tape, studied video, and saw that there was a change. There was a change in his stance between last year and this year. And he found out what the problem was, and because of it, he was going to make changes. This is what Craig Mish says on May 31st. Okay? June 1st, 2 for 4. June 2nd, 2 for 3. June 3rd, 1 for 3. 2 home runs, 5 RBIs in the last 3 days. Are you kidding me? Seriously. Kudos to Ozuna. Kudos to Craig Mish. And that's why you need to be on Twitter. So I'm telling you right now, if Ozuna has figured out the problem, I am all in. I want to get him right now. You might have a chance to get him if his owner is still upset at him. So I'm going to try to chase him in some leagues this week, see if I can come home with Ozuna. Yeah. I mean, really playing well. Okay, so that's one guy who I think should bounce back. He has 5 home runs and 28 RBIs, hitting .272 right now. I think he could end up with probably close to 90 RBIs, and I'll give him about 20 home runs, 20 and 90. Maybe he doesn't go 37 like he did last year, but he could hit me 15 more home runs the rest of the way. That's possible. I think that's possible. So I'm looking at about a 15-60 the rest of the way. I can live with that. I think that could help me a lot. So I think he is a great bounce back candidate. How about Justin Turner? Now, you guys know that Justin Turner was dealing with a wrist injury. He's only had 68 bats this season. Okay? When you have a wrist injury, it's very hard to come back. First thing that has to come back is the batting average. Then the confidence. Then the power. It takes time. It takes time. So what I want to say is Justin Turner is too good a hitter not to fix the problem. Last 3 years, he's been an excellent third baseman. He was a guy that people drafted in like the 4th or 5th round this year. You can't give up hope on him. He's only had 68 at-bats. It's going to get better. If I'm looking for a guy who I think can bounce back, I think Justin Turner is that kind of guy. Now, I'm going to give you another player who's a little bit ahead. He's a little bit ahead of Justin Turner. But Yuli Gurriel suffered from a wrist injury as well. And when he came back, he started out very slowly. Now, Gurriel's not a big power hitter, but over the last month, the guy's hitting .339. The guy's raking the last 7 games, 9 for 24. Now, we're not seeing the power yet. You may remember a guy named Derek Lee. Derek Lee was a big first baseman for the Chicago Cubs. He's like 6'5", 240, but he broke his wrist and he never came back with the same power. Now, I don't know whether Gurriel will lose all his power. I don't think he will. And he's never a big power hitter anyway, but he's got 18 home runs last year, and he's got 1 this year, but he's starting to hit. And I think when the average comes back, the confidence comes back. Then you start to drive the ball. And then you start to get, once you get 1 home run, you know you can hit a few. I think Gurriel could get you 5 to 10 home runs by the end of the season. He's a guy that I would actually go after in leagues. Especially if you need batting average. I think Gurriel's a really interesting player. I do. He's a very interesting player. And that's a guy that I have my eyes on. Is he great? No. Is he a first baseman that I can win with? No. But at corner infield, I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a good player and a good lineup. What more can I ask for? Seriously, what more can I ask for? Okay, another guy on my short list is a guy named Ian Happ. So Joe Madden is like a mad scientist. Joe Madden puts guys in different positions all the time. And he finds success by doing that. And he had a guy named Ben Zobrist, who's now with him in Chicago, but Zobrist used to be in Tampa. And Ben Zobrist would play second base, outfield, shortstop, wherever they needed him. And right now at Ian Happ, he qualifies at second base, qualifies at outfield, and now he's even getting some first base. He's even getting some third base. Well, who's to say, depending on your league, whether if you're in a league that if your guy plays 3 games, you have a third baseman, well, Ian Happ could have a lot of value in a few weeks. I'm thinking maybe by the All-Star break, Ian Happ is close, especially if your league is like 5 games. Maybe he qualifies at first, second, third, outfield. That's pretty good. Anthony Rizzo gets hurt. Maybe Ian Happ's playing first base. Chris Bryant gets hurt. Maybe Ian Happ's playing third. Maybe he's just a guy who you can use at different positions whenever you need him. There's a value to that. There is a huge value to that. And I don't want you to overlook that. Because I know there are injuries always come up in fantasy leagues, and you go up and down your roster and say, who's going to fit in? Well, maybe Ian Happ is that guy. And look, Ian Happ is one injury away from a full-time job. So at the worst case scenario, you're getting a guy who's a utility guy, and the best case scenario with 1 injury, you get a guy who could be playing second base, he could be playing third base, he could be playing outfield. Who knows where he's going to be playing? But I think that Joe Madden is trying to prepare Ian Happ so when Ben Zobrist retires, which is inevitable, Ian Happ is there. I do think it's Ian Happ is there. I have one more player for you, Scott Kingery. Now, when the year started, I wanted Scott Kingery on all my lineups. I did. I wanted him on all my teams. I looked at his power-speed combination, and I literally started drooling. I was like, oh my God, this guy's can't miss. 15 home runs, 20 stolen bases. Who could screw this guy up? Gabe Kapler. But, if there's anything that I've learned in fantasy baseball, it's that somebody's ability trumps everything. If a guy has talent, the talent eventually shines through. Look at Luis Severino. Right? Look at Jose Berrios. These are guys who are talented. Look at Kelvin Herrera. I know I'm giving you pictures, but I'm giving you examples of guys who are talented players that didn't do what we thought they would do, but eventually they did. Is there a much better starter than Luis Severino right now? You wouldn't want Jose Berrios as one of your starters? I think you would. These guys had a lot of hype, and then it didn't start out so good, but look at them now. Scott Kingery is that kind of guy. 2 to 3 years from now, you're going to wish you had Scott Kingery. But right now, it's a little rough. I get it. I get that it's rough. But if you're in a dynasty or keeper league, you got to keep your eye on 2 to 3 years down the road. And I still trust in the skills. Always trust in the skills. The skills are there. They're just latent sometimes. That doesn't mean they don't exist. And I think that is a critical thing for fantasy owners to understand. The post-hype sleeper. These are guys who help you win fantasy championships. It happens in football. It happens in baseball. The guy who's the great rookie, Corey Davis. We've talked about him in football too. He was terrible last year. Doesn't mean he's going to be terrible this year. Anybody poo-pooing Corey Davis, please, for the love of God, be in my league. You think he's crap? I know he's good. I remember loving him last year. Just because he didn't look good last year doesn't mean he's done. Mike Williams, same thing. Oh, he killed me last year. All right, Scott Kingery sucks. He's hitting 216. He's not going to hit 216 for his career. Give it a rest. Relax. Understand that the skills are there, and trust in your scouting abilities and trust in your drafting abilities. If you like these guys at one time, there was a reason. It was probably a good reason. Don't just give up on them. Trade for them. I think you'll be very glad that you did. You know what else you'll be glad that you did? PlayFFWC.com. Best ball drafts, online championship, world championship, live in Vegas, in a suite, wherever it is, you want to play the best football game, the best fantasy football game. Highest payouts, best competition. It is clear. It is fact. PlayFFWC.com. And finally, I want you to go to ScoutFantasySports.com. You'll find me. You'll find Adam Ronis. You'll find Sean Childs. You'll find the best information to help you win your fantasy leagues. Send us messages on the message board. Talk to us. Let us know how we can help you. We are here for you and your success. All right, but it's time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Back tomorrow with some AL bounce back, guys. This is Dr. Roto saying be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!